All right, what's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. here in Chicago. Let me turn this a little ways. 3 o'clock here in Chicago. Lovely afternoon. It's turning into a beautiful day. Hope you guys are doing well. It started off as a chilly day this morning, but now it looks really nice outside. I remember chatting with someone this morning about um, the weather for today, and they were like, it's going to be 57 later. And I was like, I don't believe that. It's too cold and overcast. But now it looks like it, turning into such a lovely day. Afterwards, I think we are going to take the girls out for their kind of daily constitutional, I think. And that's been going well for them. They've been really respectful of people and spacing, and which is really hard for them since they're both on bikes. It's been a challenge, but they're being very patient with it. They have much more patience and much more kind of awareness of what's going around them than a lot of the other people out there. So I've been really lucky in that regard. Stevie 76 is here. What's going on, buddy? How are you? Hopefully you're doing well today. Jonathan Jog says, "What's going on? What's going on?" I love that username. Phil Hartman says, "Yo, we're pushing 50,000 subscribers. Any plans to celebrate?" Yeah, I had plans. I had really big plans for it that I think are unfortunately canceled. Although I haven't checked for sure to confirm, but I can't imagine them going forward. So I was thinking that 50,000 subscribers is a great time to run my first 50K, and I was looking for races that were going to be about the time that I was going to hit, which I think is going to be right around June. And so I was gonna there's a race in Iowa somewhere on some backcountry roads, some roads that they don't even allow cars on, but they're like old, like access roads of some sort. And so I thought that was gonna be fun. I looked at some photos of the race. I forget what the name of it is, but it was gonna be sometime early June, and I thought that that would be a great time to talk, like to just do it. I was gonna not tell anyone I was training for it. I was just gonna like it'll just be a video that showed up one day that I did my first 50K. So I was gonna do that, but um, I think that that event is certainly, if not canceled, because it was a small event, and in Iowa there are very different rules than there are here because they're different, they're very different population densities there than here. So I don't know if that event is still going forward or not, but I can't imagine driving like and potentially being a transmission source from Chicago to rural Iowa. So I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to have to figure out something else out for that. So we'll figure something else out because this is a pretty big deal for me. Never thought I'd get there. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not there yet, so I don't want to like celebrate too early. Lewis Cameron says, "Hey, Co, what's going on, Lewis?" Cody Davis says, "Hey, how's it going?" Jonathan Jog says, longest run during quarantine. I think my longest run was, well, probably Sunday. It wasn't a long run, though. It was two runs. It was an 8.5 and then an 8.03. That would have been my longest. So that would have been like 16 and a half miles total. At the outset, I mean, it's been changing over time. At the outset, I didn't want to be outside for more than an hour at a time. And then, and now, since I've been running earlier in the morning, I've been stretching it out to about an hour and a half at a time. So I feel comfortable with that because there's not that many people out at like 4:30 to 6 a.m. There's a handful of people. Some updates. I did see the rats that I normally see. We've been talking about it in the live stream here. Tell me about like the wildlife like that you see where you are. Here in Chicago, I see rabbits and rats is what I tend to see for the most part. Occasionally, I'll see an outside cat, but that's about it. One time I swore I saw a fox, but it could have just been a big fat cat. But it wouldn't, a fox wouldn't be fat. A wild fox wouldn't be fat. But anyway, I'm sure I saw a fox. I don't, doesn't seem likely, but at some point I thought I did. But I definitely saw my friend, and we named him the rat the other day, and we named him Jabba because it was Monday. It was on May the 4th. So we named him Jabba. Jabba's there. Jabba's got a solid crew of like five other. Usually I see him with either by himself or with two other rats. So there's like a three pack. But today there was five of them together and they were all hanging out. So that is a big group of rats. It's right, if anyone's in the area, it's along Broadway. They hang out on the north end of the old Treasure Island Foods parking lot. So that's where there's a big pocket of rats. That's an old grocery store in that Treasure Island Foods that's been torn down. It's been razed to the ground. And so there just is wildlife teeming in that area. So I did see him today. He was only wild off by Saturday. And I was just thinking the other day that like my wife was asking me like so we were talking about the mask video that I made today. And she's like, "Do you think you would run with a mask if we were back in Iowa where I run over there?" And I said, "Probably not, because I've seen more bald eagles than I've seen other people running while I've been out, or people out when I've been out. It's a very unusual occurrence when I see other people when I'm out running in Iowa. And so in that situation, I can easily keep social distance. I don't think I need to wear a mask. But yeah, I've seen a lot of bald eagles out in Iowa. I've seen a lot of cows running, like when I'm in Iowa. And I don't mean like cows on a farm. That's one thing to see, like, oh, cows, or there's cows on that farm over there. Hey, cows. I've been like on a running trail and I was like, oh, four cows. And two of them are mamas and two of them are babies. And those mamas look real mad because they get nervous when you get close. And so like that's happened to me before. So that's been some adventures. Um, Ultra Dead says yes. Ultra Dead approves. It sounds about right for me to run a 50K. So I think I might still do that. I might try and pick a day, maybe like you know, I would think that Saturdays and Sundays around here would be really busy and a lot of people would be out. But I think that a lot of people are doing Zoom happy hours to get through the week. And so what I've been noticing is that Saturdays and Sundays there are even fewer runners than normal. So those are pretty quiet. So maybe I'll pick like a Sunday to do it once the time comes. Martha's here. How's it going, Francisco? This is Aris here and Gaki CJKDD. Awesome. Good to see everyone again. Adam Anderson says, "Hey, I listened to your Spotify playlist during the run today, and it was the best run you've had this week. That's amazing. Hey, daughter's here. What's going on? Join? Yeah, so thanks for listening to that. I haven't actually updated that one in quite a while, although I think I'm of an age where I don't really add too much stuff to playlists. Like once I make it, like those are the songs I like to run. That's pretty much it. Um, you okay? Everyone all right? What happened? What just happened there? So I'm glad you enjoyed it though. It's a lot of stuff that I listened to like years ago. There's some newer stuff on it, but then from that, then I switched to I think you gotta close this. Don't go in there. Um, so from there, I went to Apple Music and started making a playlist in there. So that has some newer stuff in it. So I've got a Kofuzi Run Club playlist there as well. But I'm glad I'm glad you enjoyed it. Um, Let's see. Mark Trujillo says deer and turkey are common sightings on the daily run here in Oregon. That's cool. Turkey kind of scare me. They could be aggressive. So deer, I see deer sometimes when I'm running in Iowa as well. The deer I like to see. Those are like fun animals to see. But when I see a turkey, it's like I'm always worried that there's going to be a standoff because turkeys are such nasty animals. Um, Martha says maybe that fox that I saw was a cat that just ate a big fat rat. It could be. Who knows? Tough Duck 414 says loving the stash Kafuzi. My wife isn't a fan, so I only get to grow his. He only gets to grow his per November. That's funny. I'm not sure my wife is a fan either, but she's letting it happen. Jake McCormick says, "Hey, Co, I have a friend who works at WashU. I shared your channel with her to see a grad in action. That's awesome. Try to get her on the live stream. That's cool. Love to have the WashU connection there. Dave Spandorfer, one of the founders over at Janji, is a WashU alum, and so that's not how we connected, but like we've had conversations about that too. So it's always nice to like connect with WashU people. It's awesome. Yeah, I haven't been that involved with WashU as an alumnus, which I always feel a little bit bad about. I've been a little bit more involved with the law school that I went to um, since having graduated. What's going on, guys? You guys are snacky, huh? You guys want candy today? All right. Let's see. Uh, Blitz off. So what's up, Kafuzi? Up early in Australia for a run. Nice to always catch up with the Kafuzi Run Club for a run. That's awesome. Good to see you. Good morning, and hope you have a good run. Jonathan Jog says, I see more coyotes roaming around the streets in California. That's spooky. Coyotes are also scary too, because I always feel like the coyotes only venture into town when something's wrong, when they're not right or when they're injured or something. So that makes me always nervous too. I'm just afraid of animals. I think I'm afraid of all the animals. Baldin Nine says, "Hey, just bought the Beacon 2s and the Pack 37s. Can't wait for them to try. Awesome. Those are some good shoes to run in. I know everyone's kind of eagerly anticipating the Beacon 3s. I'm getting a lot of messages about when they're going to come out, how like they can't wait for them, and they need them because their Beacon 2s are all used up. So I don't know. I mean, getting another pair of Beacon 2s isn't a terrible thing either, though. That's a good shoe. JC8489 says, "Hey from Texas, what's going on?" AJ Munz asks, "Who has more shoes, me or my wife?" I definitely have more shoes. That's easy for sure. CJ Cruz says the allergies are killing him. Is treadmill running decent for aerobic base training? Oh yeah, absolutely it is. I mean, aerobic base training isn't like physically taxing. So if you need to do it on the treadmill, that's a great place to do it. It's probably one of the better ways to use your treadmill because the hard thing about the treadmill is you're not outside, you're not getting the wind that's blowing against you to cool you off. But if you're a little heart rate training, you're not getting as hot, so it probably won't be as burdensome. So that could be a good way to do it. Ricardo Katagiri says, was it Thursdays or Wednesdays of happy hour? Because whiskey is 2 for 1 at his place. I was going to do Thursdays. So Thursdays will be the happy hour day, I think. I think that works because then, that's a maintainable thing. Because then if you're still doing your long run on Saturday, then, having a happy hour, like if we did a happy hour on Friday, that might interfere with people's long run Saturdays. But for me, I usually have a relatively easy day on Fridays. So a happy hour Thursday works. Let's see. Mark. Oh, okay. All right, got that one. Um, Ahmet Yavuz Pikel says hello from Istanbul. Awesome. Good to see you. See. What else we got? George L. Hernandez says first time running with a buff felt like high altitude training. Yeah, I think that for a lot of people, it's going to be really hard to adjust to. I know that there's people that don't wear one even in the winter, and I just don't know how people run like that. Like I've said to many times before, when it comes to winter running, I just get cold really easily, and so I just like to have as much like coverage as possible. I don't know why I'm so like, am I always that yellow? I know I'm yellow, but it looks like I'm yellow looking at myself in the live stream here. But hopefully it went okay for you. I didn't in the video today. I didn't really talk about like when you should or what the rules are because the rules are different in different places. But I mean, I think that if you are in an area where you're not going to be around other people. Like if you run in the suburbs and you're just running around your neighborhood, I think you'll probably be fine. But I've heard from a lot of people, and I find this a little bit counterintuitive, but people that live in trails in very rural areas, because people are going to the trails to run, and sometimes it's single track, I think, they're finding it hard to maintain distance. So in those situations, they'll have a buff, they'll put it up over when they're passing or encountering someone, and then not wear for the other time. So I think that makes sense to me. Super Schmoltz says, I saw a raccoon close to the dog beach near Belmont Harbor once. Oh, that's scary because I I am scared of all the animals. Raccoons. Ever since I saw the movie The Great Outdoors. You guys ever see that one? That's a very old movie. But ever since I saw The Great Outdoors, I have ascribed like an uncanny wiliness and intelligence to raccoons. Although I think they are wily and smart animals. Um, and I'm a little bit scared of them. Not because of like from the rabies perspective, but because I feel like they're calculating. All right, my mom's here. What's going on, mom? And Luis Becerra's here. Um, Actors Production says Glide Ride versus Infinity Run. Which do you pick for long runs? I've not tried the Glide Ride before, and so I can't really answer that one. So I don't know about that. Roy Garcia says, "Yo, what's going on from Van City? Awesome, cool, dude. Good to see you again." Jonathan Jog says, "What's your Apple Music going to have to look it up?" I think it's under Kofu. I think you could search it under Kofuzi Run Club. So I think you can find it there if you're looking for it, Jonathan. Christopher Sanguino says, "Hey man, my shin splints feel a lot better, but I'm taking 2 weeks to keep recovering. Try to ease into running very small intervals and walk every day." That's good. Good. Take it easy. For shin splints, icing and Advil are kind of like the two things that have worked for me before. But resting through it is also a very good way to just make sure it's not something worse. So hopefully you get back out there. I mean, it looks like you're not going to be completely off. You're going to get some walking in. I think that's good. So I wish you a speedy recovery. White Wings L5 says, saw a load of geese and chicks today on the recovery run. Lots of hissing ensued. Yeah, I bet. Because the geese, the mamas are always are really territorial and they're worried about the babies. My wife and I used to live in an apartment complex, and we were just talking about this earlier today when we lived in St. Louis, and it had one of those man-made ponds in it, and geese would hang out there as the seasons transition. And so I think it was like a part along their route of migration, and they would get really, really aggressive. And at that time, I didn't have a car; I only had a motorcycle, and I would ride a motorcycle to work, and I would have to always ride with my foot out, so that way, like in case the geese got closer, I can like use it as like a stiff arm, because they would like see me coming, and they would come out into the street to kind of like come at me, and they would start like nipping at me or trying to while I was on a motorcycle, like going by. It was just such a weird thing. Those geese were so insane. And I feel like everyone who lives like where geese are like naturally part of that like the area. I think everyone has a crazy goose story. Um, let's see. Yeah, Jen from Law says lots of aggressive geese on the run. Chased off your route twice? That's just today? Crazy. Awesome. Um, let's see. All right. Sorry about that. Um, let's see. Jacinthe Arsenal says Endorphin Pro. Am I going to review? Yes. I saw the link. I got the email like a lot of people that they're on pre-order or early release, and so I ordered a pair. I'm not sure when they'll come in, but whenever they do come in, I'm looking forward to trying them. Greg Idahara's here. Yofuzi RLE Arlie 0204 says, when is the Trail going to open back up? In my opinion, right now the shelter-in-place order from the state is extended to May 31st. Uh, if let's say it doesn't renew, and let's say June 1, like that shelter-in-place order is still not in there, I think that the mayor is still going to have that lockdown. Um, I was there's a reporter who live tweets a lot of the press conferences, and I've been following her. Unfortunately, I forget her name, but she's doing a really great job, and she'll either live tweet the governor and or the mayor's press conferences. And she reported on the mayor's press conference today, and they were saying that her public health advisor was there talking as well, and they were saying that like we're not on the decline here in Chicago. They think that we're flattening the curve, but we're still at the max, and we're not going to start seeing the downhill until the end of May. And so we'll see if the statewide shelter-in-place order lifts. If that does, it'll be interesting to see if there could be some sort of citywide shelter-in-place order. I'm not sure if that's possible, if the mayor has that kind of authority. Um, but I have a feeling that the Lakefront Trail is going to be one of the last things to open up as far as like outdoor activity spaces. Um, I think we'll see playgrounds and things like that open up before we see the lakefront open up. So I think like if June 1st, the rest of the states open up, maybe the end of June if things are going well. So that's I think there'll be like a 30-day or at least a 2 week like stagger. That's my opinion. I'm complete speculation. I have no idea. Excuse me. Zuo Cow says, hello from the Netherlands. Do you ever wear the Peg 36s these days? After the 100-mile review, I donated the Peg 36s. So I haven't seen those in about a year. My wife still has hers though. She wore them yesterday. PTR, and this one's hard. Oh, Peter Mendoza. Sorry. I don't know why that was hard. I don't even know why I'm awake now. Where are you at? Where it's like, is it morning or is it late night? Jonathan Jog says, I've only ran in the Nike shoes right now in the Infinity Run. What brand would you recommend for you to run in next? Um, there's so many other good brands out there. Hoka's doing good work. Saucony's having a great year. I'll probably look at Saucony for 2020. They're having probably, I think, the best year right now. New Balance is having a great year as well. Um, so those are three brands I think are, there's a lot of great stuff coming out of there. Adidas has a lot of they're like, they're very good and they've been consistent at the same thing almost to the point where they're almost boring people because it's like the same stuff every year almost. but Adidas is also another good brand to check out. So there's there's so much other stuff out there. Um, and enjoy. I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you have need other more specific recommendations. Cody Davis says early registration for Disney Pass holders is tomorrow for a marathon weekend. Gonna sign up for Dopey. Oh, thank you for letting me know that. I'm gonna tell my wife. We'll see, because we were talking about that on the live stream. Everyone, we were talking about it. Was it yesterday? Um, it's hard to believe that yesterday was the day where I ate all those granola bars for the Monday mukbang, but we did that. And the rest of the day, I did feel a little bit off because I ate so many bars at once. That's not recommended. I'm gonna have to do something different from now on. But I talked about like going back to Disney World and how my wife and I have been thinking about that. Although we do it with lots of concern and trepidation, but maybe sign up for it and then see what happens. Ooh, thanks, Cody. JC8489 says ton of shoe deals right now. Didn't really need more just yet. Couldn't pass them up. Yeah, everything's like lots of things are on sale. Adidas like marked down all the shoes that were like already out, like went marked down real fast as soon as everything shut down. So it was interesting. Joshua Payne says, "What's going on? What's going on, dude?" Tom Anderson, hey Kofuzi, just wondering if you or any of the pack have recommendations for a GPS tracker with SOS functions. So when you're up out in the trails, you have that safety. I think that I'm not sure. That's not a feature that I've really looked for, but I know like the Apple Watch has that. So like if you fall down, um, it has the ability to like text someone. So that could be the one that you're looking for. Running with Pete says 106 in a few hours in Phoenix. Whoa, if you could race run with one professional runner at my pace, who would that be? Oh, that's an interesting question. I like that one a lot. Uh, I don't know. Like, I would really love to run with Yuki Kawauchi because he just runs so much and he's just so peculiar and idiosyncratic. But since there's a language barrier, I feel like that would be a wasted answer because we would need another runner to translate. Um, but that's a great answer. Um, a great question. Yeah, that's a fun question, running with Pete. I'll have to think about that a little bit more. But yeah, because you see so peculiar, that would be one. I mean, Elliot's like the obvious like uh, answer that I think a lot of people would give, and I'm not sure I would want to give that one. Um, I also just listened to a podcast. Lindsay Hine had an interview with Jordan Hesse, and that was a really interesting conversation as well. So she, I think, would be high on my list. She, I think, is um, I think she's very like there's a lot there for her. I think she's very mysterious in ways. And the other person I think would be interesting, I think it would be a lot of fun, would be Alexi Pappas, just because she's kind of like a very interesting person. And I saw her speak with Molly Huddle and Matt Chittum at was it I think at the Houston Marathon, and yeah, she was really interesting as well. So those are I guess some of the people that I put on my list. Not like conventional people, so but like that's the kind of thing where you don't want to give like the standard answer for that. Anyway, Martha says, "Did your body react to all that sugar in the course around 40 minutes yesterday?" You don't look yellow on my iPad, by the way. Thanks. Um, yeah, it didn't really react so much as that like I felt a little bit like I just felt like I had a break in my belly, which is about right, like what I had, because I did just I took in like 100 grams of sugar in an hour, or less than an hour. So yeah, it went about as expected. Jody Run says, I only hate it when you run through a spider's web and then for the next few minutes you worry where the spider is and if it's on you. In terms of encountering wildlife. Yeah, that's a funny one. That's hilarious. Um, so funny. Um, John Bryan saying hello, hello from Arizona. Cool. Um, let's see. Donald Beck says, mustache is looking sweet. Thank you very much. I feel like it's finally filling in. I'm 40 years old, almost 40 and a half years old at this point, and I feel like, finally able to grow some facial hair. Taco Chef says, any thoughts on the Vantage V versus Grit X? Trying to decide on a watch to replace my Series 2 Apple Watch. Yeah, I'm going to reach out to Polar and kind of ask them and see if they have any insight that they're willing to share on it right now. because of the pricing. And the Grit X is cheaper than the Vantage V right now, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And there's more features, it seems, on the Grit X compared to the Vantage V, namely like compass, the commute integration, like the turn-by-turn navigation, and like things like the hill splitter. So I feel like why like the Grit X having like so many more features than the Vantage V at the current pricing or the current feature set seems off a little bit. And so like I am eventually going to do a Vantage V versus Grit X video. Um, but I think that like it's an easy pick for the two. Just get the Grit X if you need to buy something right now. So you're deciding between the two, because the Grit X, unless I'm missing something, could do everything the Vantage V can do, and it has more features. So if you're multi-sport, then there might be certain things that are there. If your watch communicates to a device that your coach looks at during your workouts, like those kinds of pro features, that could be an area where it's different and that I'm not aware of that I don't test. So like I'm gonna look at that and see if they have any ideas if like certain features are moving over to the Vantage V or not. I don't know. But right now I'm thinking Grid X. Andreas Christodulo says it's been too easy to make excuses to not run. I need some motivation. If you're not motivated, don't worry about it. Just relax and be safe with your family and spend time with your loved ones and connect with people, or don't connect with people if you're an introverted like me. Just do what you need to do. The running will still be here. You can come back to it when you want to, or get off your butt and just get out there. One of the two is the right answer. Um, J. Mike Remy says, saw a review of the Ultra Boost 20, but what's your take on Ultra Boost PB? Just ordered a pair while Running Warehouse having that crazy sale. It's an interesting one, because I feel like the Ultra Boost 20, I really liked it. I liked it way more than I thought I would. I didn't think I was going to like it at all, but it ended up being a pretty good daily trainer for me. And I think with a lighter upper, I think it becomes even more a sensible like daily trainer, because the upper, it had like a lot of like Solar Boost 19 kind of stuff going on and a lot of design for the sake of design, which made it a little bit heavier. So if it's a little bit lighter, I think I would like it more. I probably won't test it out, so I can't. That's just a hypothesis at this point. Um, but like I think it's going to be a pretty good daily trainer for people. John Bryan's coming in from Arizona. Good to see you. Hope you're staying cool out there. I know it's getting hot. Um, Arlie0204 says red-winged blackbird encounters are unpleasant and jarring also. Yes, they are. Those birds are insane. And those birds you should be scared of because they are organized, territorial, and vindictive. And so along the routes I run in Iowa, there's these giant like telephone poles, right? And they will park themselves out like a certain number of feet periodically down the route. And as I'm running, they all take turns. Whereas I get near one bird, it is like it's like zone defense, and it comes and it starts chasing me around. And I'm lucky that I have a selfie stick that I could wave at. And then as I pass its zone, I get into the next one's zone, and the next one will start swooping down and doing flybys. They are crazy birds. I do not like red-winged blackbirds. Andreas Christodoula says Peg Turbo 2 versus Peg 3637. You know who can answer that for you? TFXC. His Instagram post today talks about that precisely. And because I haven't run in the Peg 37 yet, so I can't answer that. As far as versus the Peg 36, I mean, the Peg Turbo 2 is a good fast day shoe, and the Peg 36 makes a good daily trainer. They overlap quite a bit, and so I think that that's a big distinction there. I don't know how the Peg 37 is going to be in terms of if it fits more on the daily trainer side of things or if it's more on the fast shoe side of things. So we'll see. But yeah, go check out TFXC on Instagram. He's also on YouTube, but I think he's talking about it today on his Instagram post. Martha says, in all the discussions of injury, no one has brought up ice. If you ice ASAP after feeling something, it can be a huge preemptive measure. Do it for about 20 minutes, a few times if you can. It's a good tip. Um, Peter Mendoza says, Philippines, I'm Geek Culture Vulture on Instagram. Oh, okay, cool. Hi, Peter. Awesome. I don't know why. I mean, I could see why I didn't put it together because the names are different, but I'm glad to make the connection now. Um, let's see. Terrence Sweet says, speaking of Saucony, is the K11 still in rotation or did you donate it? That one's donated or it's in a box to be donated. No, 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 no. It's sitting in a box because I'm waiting to see if they give the ride um, the Power Run treatment and give it that blackout colorway. So I still have the Triumph, I still have the Freedom 3, which I'm running in, and the Kinvara 11. All three have Power Run. Some have Power Run Plus and Power Run, or some are all Power Run Plus. Um, ooh, you want to show everyone your dog? Okay. Here, Cameron, what is that? Yeah, it's a doggy on your shirt. And so like I really like the Saucony Ride as well. Or I have. When it's been ISO, the Saucony Ride ISO, it has been not as good, I feel like. So I'm hoping that the ride gets the power run treatment, but I don't know if anyone can answer that for me, if that's going to happen. So I've been like waiting because if I'm done with that, then before like the probably before like the endorphin comes out, I might make a video about all three of those shoes to just kind of compare them. All right, Jonathan Jobs about to head out for a run. Have a good rest of the live stream. Thanks. Have a good run, buddy. Martin Lefebvre says Garmin has the same technology. I think we're talking about SOS function in case you get lost or run into some issues on the trail. So that's good to know. Yoav says good night from Israel. Awesome. Super Small says, where did you live in St. Louis? She grew up in St. Charles. Oh, I went to WashU, so I lived there for 4 years. I lived in on campus for a while, and I lived in U City back when Nelly got big. That's when I lived in U City, so that was exciting times. Um, I live like really close to Fitz's, just on the other side of that big parking lot behind Fitz's. I lived back there. Then I lived in Central West End for a little bit with some roommates. And then once I moved in with my wife, she wasn't my wife at the time, but when I moved in with her, we were out in Creve Coeur, so right before 270 and Olive, I think. So we were kind of all over. Um, and then for a short while, technically lived with my roommate. He had like converted a old auto parts warehouse into a condo. He was an architect, so it was really goofy and awkward and very modern. And it was one of three units in that building. And one of the units in that building was eventually later on an episode of House Hunters. And like they just kept commenting the entire time about how weird the building was and how awkward everything was. And I was like, I'll tell my wife, you gotta go look at this. Remember this place? And she's like, yes, that was a weird building. So that was down by Slough, that particular unit. I forget there was like a nightclub that it was like shared an alley with it would always get really loud like on Thursday nights. I forget. But yeah, that was a long time ago. Oski 501 says, does my wife ever make an appearance? She made an appearance yesterday, I think. On accident, she didn't like it. That's why I turned this a little bit because sometimes she pops out into the hallway over there. She goes into the kitchen, but then yesterday I had it turned too far and she was coming through and she accidentally made an appearance. But she doesn't really want to be on camera. She's been very much about like this is my space, and so like she likes to leave it be, and she doesn't want to like she'll watch my Instagram feed, and she'll sometimes watch a YouTube video, but most of them she doesn't watch because she just wants it to be my space and not like feel like she's interfering. Eric Floberg says, "Hey man, ever want to do an ultra marathon?" I think so. Yeah, I'd like to at some point. Um, and again, I've been saying like ever since everything got shut down. It's like once everything opens up again, I'm pretty much not going to say no to anything. I'm going to try one of everything once we can do that. Let's see. Lawrence says, how many gels do you consume in total with one marathon race? I've heard take one every 30 minutes with my thoughts. Uh, I end up bringing about 5 gels with me. Sometimes I need 4, sometimes I need 5. So that's usually like about how many. So however long that takes. I plan it for about every 5 miles, is how I like to break it up. Jen Formoss says Shanghai Disneyland is reopening next week with limited rides and attractions. Whoa. Will require reservation ahead on an app and temperature scan, etc. Yeah, that's a little bit scary, but I guess good news to hear that people that like, places like that feel comfortable reopening up. And I know different places, different countries are ahead on different, kind of like curves and schedules, but like, like a big tourist attraction like Shanghai Disneyland, like Disney World, it just draws so many people from so many places that it makes me nervous. Dan C says he's late. Oof, that's okay, Dan. Good to see you. You're here now. That's the important part. Kyle Poops. Hey, Kofuzi, thanks for helping me get back on my feet. A lot has changed since the time when I was asked for your advice 2 or 3 weeks ago. Stay hard, stay motivated. Awesome. Well, hopefully you're feeling better and hopefully you're getting out there. Good to hear from you again. Um, Gaseous Dave is here from Bothell, Washington. Awesome. And do I plan to try out fat adapted running? I don't think so. I've thought about it, but like I think that fat adapted running is something that makes more sense for like ultra distances, and that kind of running, which I guess I was just talking about how I'm going to do one. Um, but like also my understanding is that for like fat adapted running, like you need to like change your diet as well, where you're eating like 20% of your calories, 30% of your calories from fat. Is that right? Does that sound right? It just seems like a lot. Like you have to eat like a real, like a true like Eskimo diet, um, which is mostly like just globs of animal fat, I think, in jerky kind of form. Uh, I'm not sure how else to do it. But I haven't looked at it at all. Steve H says, "Hey Kofuzi, long time watcher, first time in the live chat. Good to see you. Apologize if you've been asked this before, but knowing your position with Nike, are you going to try the Peg 37?" Yes, I will. Um, I just feel like it's a weird time to be holding a grudge. Not to say like what I've been doing is grudge holding, but as just as a matter of saying, So like, I think it's a really great time to wipe slates clean and let people try and reset and do better going forward. So that's kind of my position on things. Cody says, enjoyed your review yesterday of the Ultra. Shoe reminds a bit of the Nike Streak 7 a bit. Um, yeah, probably a lot of the adjectives and the descriptions are similar, but they feel definitely very different. But yeah, I did like the Ultra quite a bit. I'll probably run in them tomorrow. Um, I've been taking a little bit of a break from, not a break, but I wanted to run some other shoes this week just to make a different video, and then I'll get back into them. I'm looking forward to it. Colin Baker says, "You're really making me want to make more coffee." Yeah, usually this is like my last cup of the day, is either right before this live stream or during this live stream. Tisha Monroe says, "Found me through Seth. Awesome. Live in Chicago too. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome." Um, yeah, Stevie76 says, "The Birds playing the triangle defense on you." Yeah, they are for sure. They're those red-winged blackbirds. They are insane. And they're sneaky. They know where I can see. They'll stay like back behind my head. And so like they're very smart. Laurent Lefebvre says, "Any advice on getting charged by a dog when running next to a property?" Second time it happened to him this week. Whoa, that's crazy. Um, yeah, I've been charged by dogs before, but they were just really aggressive appearing, excited dogs. They were just happy to see me. Once was by a Rottweiler out in the middle of a country road in Iowa, and it just started coming at me. And then it got to me and then just started dancing around me in a circle. And I was really happy. And then it ran with me for the next 3 miles into my car. And then I had to put it back in the car and drive it back to the farm where it came from. That was a weird day. I tried to lose it. I tried to drop a dog like on running. I would like fake slow it down, and then the dog will get bored and it played in a ditch. And then once it played in the ditch, when it did that, I started running as fast as I could, and then it would like poke its head up and realize what I was doing, and it came and got me. And of course, a Rottweiler. So, but I don't have any advice. I know on a motorcycle, the advice they give is you stick your foot out. And so that way, like you have your foot on the ready instead of being on your brake or on your clutch. You have it out, and so that way, if the dog comes by, you can kind of like stiff arm it with your leg. I have a selfie stick, so that's probably what I would use if I really thought it was going to hit me or bite me. Is I would like try to keep it away distance with that. So like I'm not sure what else to do in that situation. Um, Ross Paul says, "Have I ever done a race abroad?" No, I haven't, but I really would like to. It's on his bucket list, and I guess it's on mine too because I really want to do it. Let's see. Super Small says, "Nice. Central West End is a nice area. The Moolah Shriners movie theater is closing." And went to WashU for grad school. Oh, awesome. That's cool. Small world. Um, Riri Mashuri's here from Indonesia. Good to see you. And Kurt says, "Hey everyone, just hopping on at the end. Awesome." Stephen Liu says, "Hey Kafuzi, been running for about a year, 20, 30 miles per week. That's awesome. And was wondering if it's worth starting to add different types of workouts. Only been running steady state runs mostly, no races coming, obviously." Um, I think that it could be worth running. I think there's two ways to look at it. And I got a question earlier today somewhere, I think on Instagram. Someone was saying like, I've been running somewhat regularly. I still consider myself a beginner. Oh, they've been running for a year and a half, they said. So I was like, you're no beginner. Should I do lower heart rate training or should I start adding in some workouts? And I was like, there's two ways to look at it. One is I think it's a great time to do lower heart rate training kind of from the outset. And it's a great way to base build, and you're not going to have like the ego hit of like, I felt like I had so much progress and now I feel like I'm going backwards because I have to run slower, all of that. But low heart rate training can be like really boring as well. And I feel like if you consider yourself a beginning runner, the thing I'm more concerned about is consistency and having fun. And so if you're at the point where you're getting bored with your steady state workouts, you know, add some workouts into it. Add some fartleks. Fartleks are a lot of fun. 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, 3 minutes on, 1 minute off, or 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off. Just play around with it. Speed play, have fun. If you want to like get out to a track and do some, if you can safely, get to a track that you have access to, and do some workouts there too. I think that's great. I think that's fun to do as a beginner. But like to sprinkle it in to make it fun. But I also think though that like when it comes to like if you have very specific marathon goals or time goals, you're running 20 to 30 miles per week, then I think that maybe those speed workouts aren't as important and maybe just getting more easy runs at higher mileage is important until you get within like the last 8 weeks before the marathon. So there's like a couple ways, different ways to looking at it. But I would say like if you consider I mean, you've been running for a year. You've been running, and you're running 20, 30 miles a week. That's a lot of running too. If you're getting bored, start adding some workouts. Start doing some stuff to mix it up. Find new routes if you can do that. If you're able to do that right now, um, depending on where you are. Um, do some trail running if you haven't done that. Just have fun with it. If you've been doing 20 to 30 miles per week for about a year, you're at a fitness level where you can go explore and have fun and even get a little bit lost, and have fun on a run. So I would say just go have a lot of fun. Um, to continue your running. And then if you want to sign up for races or if you need that, like you want to do like a virtual race, to have some structure, I think that's fine too. But I really wouldn't worry about workouts because like you need that to get better, unless you have like a race in mind. So if you have a race in mind and you want to do some race specific training, that's great, to do that. Otherwise, if you're enjoying your steady state running now, keep on with that. You're just going to keep building and putting miles into the bank. And then when it's time for you to get ready for a race, you're going to be ready to get ready. You know what I mean? So I think I got to leave it there. Some good advice on dogs I see in there and some fartleks and stuff. So um, awesome. Good to see you guys in here, but I'm gonna get going. And the girls are obviously getting a little bit antsy. So, yep, Stevie76 says happy hour tomorrow. So tomorrow will be happy hour for Thursday. So bring your beverage of choice. Doesn't have to be alcoholic if you don't want. Just join us for some time together and just chatting like we've been chatting now. Um, I'll also be on Instagram tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. if you want to check me out there and meet up with the group there. It's a lot of the same people, but a lot of different people as well, just because of the time zones that are potentially different. So it's been a lot of fun. And again, tomorrow, 3 p.m. Chicago time for happy hour. Until then, hope you guys are being safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Do you want to respond?